this is where the game begins, because as you and I are truly, I do consider us empowered. The whole empowered women movement out there
Yeah.
has become such a massive movement of lots of truth, lots of power, lots
Yeah.
of light, but also
Yes.
lots of dark too. And
Oh,
so,
it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
what's your
It
opinion of,
is.
like, what does it mean to you to be an empowered woman?
Be an empowered woman. You're living in your heart, and your power is in your heart. To me, the heart is the portal to the creator, to the divine, to your higher self. The heart is love. And when we are coming from a place of defensiveness all the time, that's fear. Okay. So there's a lot of fear to me in this empowered movement because women feel like they have to hate on men. And not all men are toxic. We talk about toxic masculinity, but there's toxic femininity, like, at both sides. And we cannot shun men. We cannot hate on men. We need to be our true feminine selves, the nurturers that we are. We can still accomplish all the goals we want. It's about having that balance. But when we're hating on men and we're not able to love men and take it in, that love that they have to offer, because I'm sorry, but there's some really like beautiful men out there with beautiful hearts. And like we're missing out when we are too busy protecting our hearts instead of opening up. Empowered women will have an open heart, but with wisdom.
Yes.
They'll trust their intuition. It's about being wise and setting those proper boundaries when you need to, those energetic boundaries. But we teach people how to treat us. And when we are always on the defensive and in fear mode, we're not getting that love. We're not able to receive it. We're not able to give love. We're not empowered then. Love is empowerment.
I love that definition. It's so true, right? Because empowered is not an absolute state of being. The road to empowerment is evolving all the time.
Yes.
And it starts with having power first. So
Yeah.
let's say, for example, if somebody comes to me and says, well, I'm empowered. Why am I? It's such a classic question I get because I'm in the world of love, right? And it's like, well, I think being empowered is cursed now because we're single forever and men, we're too strong for men and all those excuses. And I'm thinking, I don't know if it's power that you're feeling, but it can't be empowerment if you're scared.
Exactly. Empowerment's not fear. It's totally the opposite.
Right. And literally in my 20s, I mean, my first relationship, I hurt him so badly. Not to say that I wasn't hurt, but I was the perpetrator. I was protecting myself. And when you have a woman that is protecting herself with such power, yeah, anybody in my way, I would have run over. So that was my teenage year, right? But I remember when I was 22, and I'm writing my memoir. It's taken forever, but I feel like everybody else's story is so much more fun than my own. But my first chapter talks about that relationship of the first time I felt love, not loved, but to even know how to love, because you can't love if you're constantly taking out somebody before they take you out. That was my MO. I'll take you out before you take me out.
A lot of people do that. A lot of women do that. A lot of men do that. But yeah, it's fear. That's all fear.
Yeah, of course it's fear, right? And I knew that because I couldn't be alone. So I had to keep him on the side, keep him there while I'm just cheating. It's just awful, right? Thank God I'm like 54 now and not a teenager, because that was not pretty. But I remember when I was 23 and I cheated on my ex three times, 4 times. At the fourth time, he just didn't take me back. He kept taking me back because he kept thinking, okay, she's young. I want to marry her. So I'm going to let her get her stuff out. But my intention was not to learn. My intention was just to take, right? So I remember the last time he didn't take me, and that was my first chapter. And I talked about how the moment I begged him to take me back again, because it's always the same story, right?
Yeah.
Got caught. Now it's like, oh my God, I'm about to lose him, and I'm going to give every single story alive. I did it 3 times. This is the 4th time. And he had met somebody.
Wow. So that hurt.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, I can't get away with this anymore.
Yeah, the last time. And I came up with every freaking, I meant it this time. I believed every moment of every word I said to him. And then he just looked at me with such a loving look after everything I did to him. He looked at me with a loving look, and we're like young, yeah. And I just can't believe what the universe gave to me, a gift that I, thank goodness, I recognized at that moment that it was a gift, because I didn't have to. You have a choice, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And he said, you know, Susie, he goes, please just let me go.
Wow.
And it just stopped me in my tracks. I went from what I thought, oh my God, what a narcissist I am, to like, oh my God, hold on. He's a good man. All he's ever wanted was a family.
Yeah.
I got to get real with myself, and I'm never going to be able to give that to him because I don't want to. And all that happened in a split nanosecond, you know, those thoughts. And I thought, oh my God, he deserves love.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. That must have been a like deep pain at first, right? Like, please let me go. It's like, wow.
It just woke me up to my behavior,
Yeah.
my selfish intentions.
Yes.
And, but he said it in such a way that was like almost begging me, because he knew that if I wanted to take him back, I could take him
You would
from
have.
a woman.
Yeah.
But it's just, to me, I knew at that point that I've been operating on the fear of being alone, fear of just never finding somebody, all those fears. And I thought, oh boy, I have work to do. But then, so that momentary thought process, no more than a minute of those thoughts coming through in my, I wasn't in the fear at that moment. It was really weird. And I said, okay. And I packed up my few things from the place, and that was it. And I left. But then my fear kicked in after. But at that moment, my fear was like, oh my God, I'm alone. I got to keep busy. I got to, you know, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, from that moment was my journey. And what does somebody who is strong, who is empowered, what does that even mean? Right? I don't even know. But there's one thing I did know, like you, all I've ever wanted was to be loved.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Loved for all of who you are.
Yeah.
Even the parts of you that you think are unlovable, you know, that you reject, that you hide. Eventually they'll see that, those parts, right?
Yeah. As soon as we see it though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We often want it just stuck in the subconscious. Go buy a purse, go have some drinks and numb yourself so you don't feel that part of you.
Oh yeah. So in the journey of empowerment or achieving empowerment, you and I probably have done the same thing. We've drank our way there. Nope, that didn't work.
Right.
We shopped our way there. Didn't work
Yeah.
either. Right.
Done it all.
We
Yeah.
ate our way
People
there.
pleased our way there. Yeah.
Yeah, we ate our way there.
Oh yeah. Done it
People
all.
pleased our way there. I mean, you name it.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah. Tried it all. Didn't work. So we had to start facing it all. Just like, okay, this is me, quirky me. Got to accept it. Those are my wounds. Got to accept it. Not my fault that that happened to me as a child or whatnot. You know, like the problem is we blame ourselves and shame ourselves for so many mistakes we've made in the past or events that have broken our hearts or, wounded our souls, like whether we've been abused in any way or like you cheated or whatever, you could beat yourself up till the cows come home. It's not, doesn't matter now. You've got to just learn from it and grow and use it to make your life how it needs to be and own your truth, like uncover those wounds and unblock your heart and just be all of you and recognize the beauty and goodness within you and grow from those wounded parts, grow and accept them, step into wholeness, embrace your humanity, embrace your divinity, but do not obsess about feminism. Do not obsess about hating on men. Like there's a kill all men movement. There's a cam movement. My son told me about it. And I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, no way. Like men are beautiful. I'm like, why on earth? Like, I mean, I have a brother who's like a divine masculine, like, and he's not perfect. None of us are. He's like this incredibly loving, kind, healing energy. Like he's an electrician. He's not working in the healing field. And he's going to be single now. Yeah, he's going to be on his own, but I'm happy for him because I want him happy. But what a beautiful soul. Like there for anyone, anytime with this big, gorgeous, giant heart. He's a big dude. He's strong, he's big, strong, really beautiful man. And Yeah, I've seen him get hurt so many times. And yeah, just to see him free is great. But yet if someone hated on him, like, you know, I can't even imagine hating on him. There's so many beautiful men. Beautiful. Yeah.
There are,
We've all made mistakes in our lives. Men, women, it doesn't matter.
there
Got
are.
to forgive it to an extent where we can love at least and have compassion, but not hate.
No,
This hate has to move, like gone. Just
yeah. I,
killing the
I,
soul.
I truly believe that every empowered woman out there that hasn't found somebody yet,
Yeah.
it's because they have the wrong belief system,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Especially, I mean, I always call out the women that are from our industry, the healing industry, or the law of attraction industry, or the, personal
Yeah.
development industry. You believe you're so informed or educated around manifesting everything you want. Right? And that's the thing. And then yet you're sitting here telling me that, oh, men are too weak for them, or it's like that just there's such a big discrepancy there. So do you have power to create the world that you want or not? You can't pick and choose. The law of attraction and manifestation is it's it's a perfect science,
Yeah. It is. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So I think the key is to understand as an empowered woman, when you know you're moving towards empowerment or the higher level of empowerment, because I call it conscious empowerment. So you're moving from power. So let's say, for example, a woman that goes from a relationship into a shelter. I mean, you could talk about all that, right? The fact that you escaped meant you have power. You have a bit of empowerment that now enabled you from the inside to move out. But it doesn't mean you're empowered. It means you just had a bit of power there. Somebody gave you the magic wand and you waved it.
It was the love around me. It was my brother. My brother was my hero. My brother was there for me through thick and thin, and my good friends that I had, and witnessing in the women's shelter the suffering, and that these women kept coming back. These were regulars. That's what the workers told me. And their children are going through this. Like I was there the first night. I bawled my eyes out, realizing how weak I had become, that this had happened to me, being with this abuser for 8 months. It was only 8 months, and I totally lost myself. At least I thought I did. And cried the first night, and the next day I wake up and there's these beautiful children and these women that are regulars, and I'm like, heck, like they keep coming back, And anyways, so one day one of the women had 5 children, and she was a regular, and I told her youngest one was really rambunctious. So I said, you know what, you go downtown with your other kids. He can help me bake a cake today and make supper. We'll do groceries together. I'll bring him with me. He was like 5. He was crazy rambunctious, but we had fun. And so he cooked with me. We made this celebratory dinner to celebrate life. And I made this birthday cake, and I came into the room with candles on the cake, and everybody's looking at me. And some of the kids had never seen that before, never had a birthday cake. And I was like, okay, guys, we're going to celebrate life today. And they're just looking at me, really? And I'm like, yeah, they all lit up and the kids blew out the candles. They never did that before. And I was like, wow, these kids never get celebrated. These women never get celebrated. And the mother wanted to give me her allowance from the shelter. I didn't collect an allowance. I had my own business. I was, I'm not taking allowance, give it to whoever. And she tries to give me the $5 allowance for babysitting her kid. I lost it. I ran her a bath. Like seeing these women so beaten down because of toxic masculinity. Yes, it exists. But I've seen men abused too with toxic femininity. There's a lot of that too, but more so now, I think, than before, because we've become bitter, we've become defensive, we've become angry because we're aware of so much of the toxic masculinity that we've created toxic femininity in, like, to try to balance us out, I guess, like to get back, but really, when our power is really the love that we are. Women are so meant to be loving and nurturing and to receive, but to give that. We're here to heal the world, really. We are. We're here to heal the world when we're in our power, our true power.
That is so true. And I think a woman who cannot love or open her heart up to be loved is not as empowered as they
No.
think. Anytime we have to protect ourselves from anything, anything
Yeah.
means we have work to do on the empowerment level.
Yes.
Especially, let's forget about the love part. Let's forget about the empowered woman in the love arena. Forget about that one. That's a whole like bunch of question marks everywhere where people are they
Yeah.
they really don't believe how much power they have to be able to change it, the outcome of their world. But
Oh,
let's
yeah.
just talk about the social media.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just talk about how empowered are we. That's another test, right? So you test it on the love thing, how empowered you are.
Yeah.
And believe me, because me meeting my husband and then 20 years of together, without that, I could never get to this level of empowerment without having to go through that whole growing process, learning about myself process, learning about how to be considerate with somebody else, how to emotionally negotiate. You can't do that alone.
No, no. We're always learning and growing from one another, right? We teach each other. Our greatest teachers are often our spouses.
Of course, or anybody we have to live
Anybody.
with.
Yeah, absolutely. You see everything there.
Yeah. The second part is being a mom. That's another level of
Oh,
self-mastery work.
my favorite part. Being a mom.
Yeah. At least you were, you're given, the thing is, there's nothing perfect out there. There's
No.
nothing, but things can always, because coming back from the Chinese philosophy for me, everything always works in harmony. So when
Yes.
there's one area of our life that's not working well at all, we're going to be given something in another part of our life, which is near perfect, right? So it's really nuts how everything always comes back to harmony, which is why you have to be very present to your world and not let toxic positivity suppress
Oh,
what is the truth, right? I think that's the main thing.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
let's just look at social media, like all these empowered people that are coming out, and yet they're so paranoid about what they put out there, or their the spiritual ego out there is unbelievable because
Huge,
they claim
massive.
to be in the fifth dimension, but
Yes.
yet you could totally, you and I from the quantum, see 3D operation.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Yeah. Lots of ego, lots of fear, checking how many likes and being defensive if someone makes a comment they don't like and they're argumentative or like, yeah, no, there's lots of ego. And the spiritual community is often bypassing and not owning their truth and not healing their pasts and their wounds and not really stepping into who they really are. They're just relying on this ego and being the guru for everyone else. That way they can avoid their pain, avoid processing that.
Yeah. And here's the scary thing is that I don't really believe everybody's out there in a malicious, you and I agreed.
No,
It's like,
there's a
it's
lot of
not,
love out there.
yeah, it's not malicious. And
No,
here's the thing, when you become more empowered, you can discern the world in a different space.
yes.
Because I get into very analytical space, especially when I'm working with clients. I cannot judge them in any way. And I see a lot of spiritualists judging the people, but yet they will never admit it. But I can see it. I could
Oh,
see
yeah.
thoughts. I could hear thoughts. I could feel your energy
You
where
feel
you're at.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So I never want to be in that space where I'm judging the person in front of me. So I've learned how to be the scientist and be the analytical side without the emotional side attached. I'm just looking at data all the time.
Yeah.
I'm measuring data because all I'm helping you do is, and myself, is get to the truth. Let's get to the truth.
Yes,
Until we get to the truth, I don't want to waste too much time on what is not truth, right?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Learn from it and then grow from it.
Yeah. So one of the skills in being empowered is to look at everything negative without an emotional attachment to it.
Yes. Be an observer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the whole thing. When we're in the quantum space, I am just observing all the moving parts, like all your stuff, like Nancy, I could see all your life ahead moving in different ways. And there is no way in heck I could sit here right now and predict exactly where everything's going to fall. I can make a prediction from myself, but I certainly can never say it with certainty.
Of course, we have free will. So
Exactly. So when you're working in a quantum space, you have to be in the most conscious, but also the most empowered state, because you can't fear what you see. So even if I see something about myself, and that happened to me right before COVID, and I did my first in my whole life shamanic journey. I swear to God, this is the great thing about shamanic journeys, and then there's a not so great side, is that
yeah.
you get what you want.
Yes.
So, and same thing with every work that I do with everybody. I always, okay, so what is the intention with the step we're about to take? What is your intention? Every time I'm hammering in, what is your intention? Because that is the instruction to the universe.
Definitely.
So I walked into that shaman. I figured, well, if I'm going to do something like that, if I'm going to take those shrooms, I might as well just make it the biggest blowout thing I could ever name. Right? Like, just blow it out of the park. Just do it all one shot, right? Because I can rip the Band-Aid. I don't care. No slow process for me. Time's money. So anyways, I said, yeah, okay. So this is my intention. Blow me up to a million zillion pieces into a bubble of vulnerability, like whatever I don't know, expose whatever I'm suppressing that I don't even realize. Show me everything. Show
Huge.
me everything that can potentially blow up my world, so I could rebuild from a pure of energy space. Like,
Wow.
don't
That's
even,
bravery right there.
oh
That's
my God.
amazing.
I wanted to, before I go out into the world again, be completely free of anything fearful of being vulnerable. Like, to be the most real
Yes.
I can be, expose me for who I am. Universe,
Love it.
do it, right?
It's
Oh boy,
beautiful.
within
Thank you.
within a week and a half of time, something was exposed to me that I knew was going to happen a year prior. I could see it happening. I tried to give warnings and heeding and but nobody would listen. They would reject me for saying it. And this is my husband. He would say, well, you're just jealous. You're just whatever. Like, because it was such a prediction in my mind. I'm like, oh my God, I know this is going to blow up in my face. Right. So anyways, yeah, but it did. And it involved the people that I trusted most.
Yeah, that's
So
painful.
it's so, yeah, but it happened, and it took me time to actually rebuild from that, because yeah, from that moment when trust is broken for me, and you too, trust is everything.
Oh yeah. If you don't feel safe, if your heart's not safe with someone, then
And that's hard when you're in a marriage, or when you're in relationships or friendships or anything. You could only wish and hope that that person has your heart guarded in such a way that is harder than you would guard yourself. I mean,
yeah.
isn't that what we all want?
Yeah. And it's not all that common. So you have to really be like, be able to take those risks, but trust your intuition while you're doing that. Always trust.
Yeah. So knowing that, and that's why I think in the end of the day, no matter what, the one thing that, as empowered as it, I had to draw out every single empowerment outlet I can. Like, I was plugging in this empowerment outlet. I was grabbing everything I can to stay high vibed, and to really understand that, wow, hold on. We can face any negativity. And this is my definition of empowerment.
Mhm.
We have no fears of facing whatever difficulty comes to us.
Exactly. That's empowerment. Absolutely.
All to stay connected with the greatest dream that we ever want for ourselves.
Yes. Oh, yes. I can
Right?
so vibe with that right now.
Never dim our light, never dim our light, because our light is based on the vision of where we see our life going forward.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
when people say, dim your light, yeah, the only way you can dim your light is by closing the curtain to that dream life that you want,
Yes.
which includes being loved for the light that you are. And that's what I think true empowered women, and I know a lot of empowered women that are not, they're sitting here, they're single, but they're not saying all men. No, they're like, well,
No,
I'm just waiting for the right man.
they want that soulmate that their heart is safe with, that they can be themselves with and be loved unconditionally, you know, as much as possible. I mean, we all have conditions at times, we're human, but to be safe, to trust is huge. It's so big. And when you've been burned, it's really something you have to work on. And that's where we get disempowered, is when we're still in fear from the past relationships or past wounds. You know, we can often get stuck there. And yeah, I've dimmed my light before many times, like, you know, because someone doesn't want you to shine completely, or they're not comfortable, whether it's a friend or in a relationship. We can do that. And it's subconscious. You don't want to dim your light, but it's an energy that's maybe overpowering you because you haven't been empowered. You haven't been in the love that you are, that strength that we have within, that courage to be all of you.
Yeah. And this is the thing, to not dim our light. Hey, we've all done it. You know, this is a crazy thing. Whatever you and I talk about, we've done it too many times over. Like the best thing you can do is bring to the world how to shorten the time that you do it, rather than, because I didn't have anybody guiding me through my whole empowerment years. I only started spiritual work in my late 30s. Before that, I was an unconscious competent. Like, I just made things happen. I succeeded in my career. I worked up the corporate ladder. You know, and this is the crazy thing about the universe. They talk about karma. For 9.5 years, 10 years that I heard that first love, it took me almost the exact same time of being single. Isn't that crazy? I knew that I had to pay back. And that's the one thing, when I walked away from him and let him, and he has 2 kids, and like, he ended up having his life, you know, but I knew for me, I'm like, yeah, nobody deserves me right now, because that is like, I wouldn't even give me to my worst enemy. And that was the whole point, right? It's true. It's like, what the heck do I have to offer in a relationship anyway? And that's the thing. That's my 20s. So my journey was, okay, well, I want success. I want to be a successful person. So that's why I focused on career and everything like that. The journey of even dating and going into that world, from being fearful to be alone. And I really, to become empowered in that state of dating or looking for love, when you come in from a space of desperation, it's never a good space.
That's never good. No, it's not good at all. No, I've done that, I think. Yeah.
Of course, I think we all have.
Trying to think of my past, and yeah, there's been, I like one person who's like my best friend now. When I was young, I was obsessed with him. Like, I know the second I met him, oh my God, butterflies galore. Like, I was like, oh my God, he's the one. Like, I just was like in awe. And that feeling lasted for years. Like, it was like crazy, right? Nothing compared to him. Like, no one could match that. Meanwhile, he broke my heart more than anyone on the planet. Women love this guy. And yet now we're the best of friends. It's like he knows me so well and has guided me so much. And it's just so funny. We laugh about the obsessive love I had. Like, I was obsessed. It was crazy. I'd drive by his house with my friends and we'd be like, we were crazy, right? But yeah, that's desperado. I think that energy is just, I wanted that person, had to be that person. And meanwhile, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, my heart would have been broken so many times, because he was not in a space to be committed either at all. But wow, it's just so funny when you come from that's probably the most desperado I ever was. It was like, has to be him. Like, no. God kept saying no, not him.
Well, that's the thing. So I think from your point of view, though, you're coming with so much love. That's why, because you have too much to give. So it's like, you have so much to give.
Maybe. But I just love the feeling of love a lot. Yeah. Like, even with a cashier, I'm like, oh, I just love you. Like, I'm feeling it, you know, like a cashier could be looking at me going like, oh my God, you're my favorite customer or whatever, because I'm just like, they probably feel that. I'm like, oh, you're so sweet. Like, love you. Like, it's like the weirdest thing. I don't know. Or elderly men. Oh my God, don't even bring me there. I just die over them every time I see them. Like, so precious, you know, but just an obsessive love, I guess. But it's not a desperado feeling. It doesn't feel like it's over. It's just who I am. I just love, like, love.
We have to create a TV show. I think you would have to create a TV show.
Be dramatic for
I'm
sure.
following you around and
Reality show. Oh
you're
yeah.
sharing love. Remember the Long Island, the Long Island medium? Remember that
Oh
one?
yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're like the love medium
You're
around
funny.
city to city. It just
Well, some people probably think it's a little crazy, but yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's overwhelming, and especially lately, it's even more like so much more joy with it, and I'm just like, holy geez, like, yeah,
that's why I always say when you're empowered, with all the love that you have that is like in the furnace, you know where to channel it and not to channel
yeah,
it in ways that is not, because the love that you have to give and that I think all of us women have to give,
yeah.
empowered
We
women,
all have lots of love in
yeah,
us.
it needs to be given to where it is received in the highest consciousness.
Yes.
So it's almost like if we give it to the wrong person, they basically use the pure love and turn it into dark, and that's not where it's meant to be channeled. And I think once empowered women learn how to hone in on that, you know how you say you channel that pure God space into your that energy, right?
Yeah.
And we all can tap into the
Oh,
universal energy,
everybody can.
right?
We're all made from that beautiful
Yeah,
source of love. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm not any better than anyone. If I thought that, then I should definitely not be working in this industry,
oh
right?
yeah,
Definitely not serve because that's
no,
ego, but everybody has it. And I always tell my clients that they can tap into that. We're always connected in our breath and in our heartbeat. People are like, how do you connect to source energy? How do you connect to God? You already are. Like it's not complicated. Just you're breathing, your heart's beating, already flowing through you.
yep, exactly. And so when you work with somebody like you who is like pure of heart, and this is pure of heart, there's no way that it can go wrong other than bringing you one step closer, one step, two steps closer, three steps closer, whatever it is. But here's the thing though, when you're empowered, you're not scared that it will be taken away from you without your power to hold on to it. That power that
Absolutely.
you have, you choose to channel it out. You choose to utilize that power you have, that love,
Yeah.
in the way that you want because you're empowered. But what I hear a lot of my clients and women talking to me about is, well, I'm not even going to let them come near me because they just take from me. Like, who can take from you? It's like you have money in the bank account. Who can take from you? If you're empowered, you should not fear losing. You should not fear disempowerment.
Exactly.
No man is smart enough to take away from us. Come on. We're the one letting it go.
We're the ones, yeah, giving our power away. We're allowing it. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We have
Right?
to trust our intuition. We have to set energetic boundaries where love can still come in. But we have that wisdom to know where we're safe and where, it's not out of fear. It's knowing that energy that's genuine, that real energy, and being in that presence instead of being in a space where, like, I can't be around people wearing masks all the time and facades. And I can't be in that. I'm not myself when I'm around it. I just want to leave. So it's knowing that, you want to be in those spaces where you can thrive or at least be your pure self, without any ounce of fear.
Absolutely. So that's the gist. To wrap it up, the
Yeah.
definition of an empowered woman is to not fear ever losing anything that you have. So if you fear losing something, it means you don't have a strong enough hold on you. And that means there's a lot more work to do because being empowered, you should not be cursed to be alone for the rest of your life.
No, God,
We
no. You're
are,
here to be loved and to give love and enjoy every aspect of that. Absolutely. Such a
yeah.
gift.
So the first step is if you have to question just how empowered you, I'm not saying you're not empowered. There are different degrees of empowerment, but it goes from a little bit of power to more empowered to conscious empowerment. When
That's
you reach the conscious empowerment, you are at a higher vibration where you have a good life. You just haven't been able to tap into sharing everything that you have with somebody who is going to value you and bring to you what you need. So I think right now we have to re-educate the whole world about, yeah, you might not be empowered. If you have a fear, then you're not as empowered as you think.
There is not power.
No, it's not.
Intuition is knowing something's off is, but not being afraid of that, not feeling weak in that. Owning your power, your love, being in that higher love consciousness, keeping your vibe high.
And
Yet
guess
being
what?
real.
It's
Being real.
it is being real. Yeah.
No toxic positivity, spiritual bypassing, none of that crap. The love and light, love and light. I know I keep doing that, but it's just like it's everywhere. And it's like, do you really mean that though? Yeah, if you mean it, great. But the namaste is in the love and light. Like, be you, just be you. You don't have to follow trends. You just need to be you. Be that love that you were created to be.
Well, yeah, you know what? Just brought, I have to say this. I have to say this on this show now, because one of my clients, I've been mentoring her to get a client, so she has her client, and this client comes to her. I swear, it's the classic. He's been paying regularly for a channeler to channel in all the information he needs,
Aw,
not only from this life but from past lives.
okay.
So he's now confused with all that information because he doesn't know how to make it into something tangible. So it's just information. So in your past life, so it's telling you or whatever. So I have to mentor her in terms of how to work with this. And I had to talk to him on a conversation as the mentor. And he was telling me, I said, I'm going to have to stop you for a second because I don't want you to waste too much of your time with me. But let me ask you, what good is all that information when it has no relevance to your life now? When we go into that spiritual bypassing now, right? There's no bigger spiritual bypassing than somebody who channels in, constantly feeding information that has no relevance, or not giving you the ability to utilize that information in the way you need to today. Because information is not all it is meant to be.
No, but I do agree that some past life sessions can be healing.
Yes.
Like I do that with clients, but
Yeah.
they're on their journey. They're telling me what they're experiencing. I'm not channeling for them. They're channeling themselves. I've had one of my favorite ones is one of my clients I've had for years. She is incredible. And her past life session went on for almost 4 hours. I was like, oh my God, usually they're like maybe an hour and a half. So it was never ending. And she had life after life after life after. It was unbelievable. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So anyway, it was this every lifetime, it was her father that was the other soul with her. And it was her experience with her father. And her father had passed away 30 years ago. And they never had a good connection. The last life, I'm getting chills right now. It was so touching. I was bawling. It was so beautiful. She was dancing in the galaxy with this soul. And this is when she discovered that this soul was her father, and they were dancing together. And oh my gosh, I was crying. It was so beautiful. And that's how it ended. But she made so much peace with her father. Like, he was an alcoholic, he was abusive and all that when she was young. And ever since, like, she hasn't had any more issues with men. She's always had, relationship problems with men, like you wouldn't believe. This cleared everything for her, just this one session. And it was so beautiful. But 4 hours, I was standing for 4 hours because I didn't want to make noise, right? And take her out of it. So I'm like standing there writing everything. I'm like, oh my God, another life, another life. I'm like, oh my goodness. But it was just beautiful.
But you see, because your intention, because your work is healing them through those past lives, right? That's the difference between channeling information to give to somebody.
Yeah.
It's almost like giving a gun to a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And I think, and you would, and also because you have integrity, spiritual integrity. If somebody's paying you constantly come back for more information that serves nothing, you would actually make sure that, well, you wouldn't even do that work anyways, because
no.
The whole channeling, activation, and somebody else doing the work for you without you partaking is a very dangerous thing anyway. And so I know a lot of healers that are really good and very pure of heart.
Yes.
And every healer has a different way of helping with the healings, but there is a lot also that are on survival mode. And we're still human. no matter
Oh,
what.
we are. None of us are perfect.
Yeah,
I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
that's
Totally
why
agree.
for all my clients, I try to avoid them getting into that financial survival state.
Yeah.
Because as a coach, when we're in survival state, it means that person in front of us is part of our survival.
Yeah.
When we're empowered, it's okay to work with somebody that might be in survival if we know the risks we're taking. An empowered woman knows how to take risks.
Yes. And that's the intuition, right? And there's just, you follow that. Most
Yeah.
people don't trust their intuition. So when you start to trust that inner
Honey,
knowing.
that's the work that you and I have to do is we have to get back to what is intuition, what is ego, because they don't know. Because when
No,
I ask
a lot of
somebody
people
whether
don't
they,
know.
yeah, because so many of my clients come to me after they've been blindsided so many times, and I'm like, well, how did you feel? Well, it felt right at that time.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
felt
Just want
right.
answers so badly that you'll trust almost anyone that seems to be a guru, like
Yeah.
an enlightened being who seems to be pure hearted. Not all are. Some are, and they're still like they're blind leading you because they haven't done their own work.
Yeah.
They don't have bad intentions. It's just they haven't done their own work.
No,
So,
no. And it's okay to, hey, I don't know how many psychics I've paid and they've given me
oh,
seriously nothing. And I find it a kick because I'm always looking for that right one that will just turn my belief systems around because I'm always seeking to be wrong, right? I'm always looking for that challenge. Okay, it's like, well, that's why I'm married to my husband because he's the greatest challenge. He'll challenge, but I love being challenged. I don't want to be right all the time. I don't want to know what I know all the time. Like it's lonely. Challenge me. Show me.
um,
Don't tell me I'm wrong. Show me I'm wrong.
but I know some amazing readers, amazing intuitives, and just recently I've had a number of them that are good friends that have all come to me in the last week with something that I knew inside but was denying. And they're all from all over the world. They don't know each other. And they all look out for me. And they did this 10 years ago for me with something else. And I was right. And it was painful. And I didn't want to face it. And yet these beautiful souls have my back and they've always been right about everything they have. These are truly intuitive people that are from their hearts serving. And I really can't thank them enough. Like, I love them. And I do refer people to them because I trust them. I know that they have pure intentions to serve and and yeah, as painful as it can be, they have your back. And it's like, wow, you know, and there's the love. It's like, oh, I love them. Like, it's like, I can't thank you enough. Like, it's just, wow, as
And
painful as this can be, it's
oh
just,
yeah. And that's the thing. It's the same thing with my shamanic. It's like, okay, show me what I already know that I've already suppressed. Just bring it all out
yeah,
that I have
yeah.
no more
Bring
chance.
yourself up.
Talk about vulnerability. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
why you are truly empowered. I wouldn't be talking to you right now if you weren't, because you were ready to face no matter what outcome it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
So yeah, it's really important to have your true pure of heart connections that
Mhm.
really have your back
Beautiful.
unconditionally. But this is why, and me too, I have my circle of people that I refer people to because when I refer, it means it's a done deal. Like you're going to get
Yeah.
what you're going to get.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And they do. They always do. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would never refer people that I like. It's not about being likable now. It's about results and
Mhm.
my word means something, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You don't
So,
want people wasting more money,
no.
wasting more time, being more confused and overwhelmed.
Well, remember you're a recovered people pleasing martyr too,
Oh,
right?
God, I should have had trophies every year. Every month, I should have had a massive golden trophy. Not kidding. Nuts. And everybody knew it. They knew it. Oh, man. I attracted the biggest users on the planet. And, they didn't even know that they were using me, some of them. Like some of them, yeah, they may have had the intention of using me to do something to please, like take care of them, give to them, like do whatever, be the doormat. But oh man, that's why I'm like, no is a full sentence. And yeah, it's gonna suck at first when you start saying no. But man, it's going to start to feel good. And you're going to be like, no, no, thank you. And you're going to be like, wow, that's empowerment, because you're not doing stuff to people please, to get approval or whatever crap reasons they are. But, it's like, that's empowerment, to just say no and to be happy about it. Yeah. It's hard at first. You feel like such a jerk. You feel like you're abandoning people. You feel like, when you're doing healing work and you think like, you're doing everything you can to help others. And then suddenly you're like, no, I just say no. But like, I said no to that person and they need help. No, just no. And if it's someone who's coming to you and you know that you're not the one to guide them, you refer them out. And that's okay. Like, you don't feel bad about that. But it's when someone's asking you for something and, or taking advantage of you over and over and over again.
Okay, well,
No.
from this moment onwards, I am giving you the trophy and your title, because my title is love hacker, right? I can't get away from that one. And I think they call me the love hacker because the hacking is such a fast process of getting right to the heart of the truth and not even worrying whether I'm people pleasing or not. It's like, let's save time. Do you want to save time, or do you want me to cushion it? No, save time. Smack me in the head. I've been in that cushion for too long, Susan. But your title now is the empowered healer. That's a very unique title because I'm telling you now, there are not a lot that I would even give that trophy to. Not a lot. They're very few.
A lot don't own that power within them. A lot don't. They don't think they're worthy.
Yeah. Well, just the word healer used to be such a trigger for me. That's why
I use it, but I don't think I'm the healer. I'm a conduit. If I just walked around and said I'm a conduit, they'd be like, for what? But I'm a conduit for our creator to flow through. You don't want my energy healing you. It's limited. You want that endless, miraculous, loving, purifying, empowering. That's empowering energy. Miraculous. Beautiful.
Well, that's why you're going to redefine the whole world of healing, because you truly are a healer. You truly are. That's where your heart sits. And everywhere you walk, you heal, right? Your existence heals. You can keep anything alive, for goodness sakes, if you really want to. We know that, right? So, I mean, something could be half dead and it's still alive because you have that power, right?
Funny. You're so funny. They're funny. Well, love does that. Love does that. We all have that. Everybody has it.
So now the definition of an empowered healer, the empowered healer. Like I am the love hacker. Like I know that for a fact. I know that for a fact that you are the empowered healer, and that title is not common. And you can hold it with pride. You've done your work. You're not scared to be vulnerable. You're not scared to face your worst demons. You're not.
No. I've done a lot of it.
Yeah. And you're not even scared to hear it being said to you. So
no.
Yeah, you're the empowered healer, honey. So yeah, get ready, world. The empowered healer meets love hacker.
Oh my goodness. I love you. You're so funny. Well, and that's my goal, like with the programs I'm going to have to help attune and certify and guide people to healing others. Like, yeah, you'll get your certificates, but you're going to be empowered in who you are and let go of those wounds, get out of the ego and step into that conduit energy. So you can truly be serving. And like a lot of coaches will be in the program too, because a lot of coaches like to use the healing modalities, right? And it's not about obsessing about symbols. It's totally surrendering to that beautiful love that flows through every single one of us. Every single one of us has that naturally.
There you go. Lots in the works. I think I think we could wrap up on the empowerment and the definition, but let's go into the next session talking about people pleasing and how to get out of that.
Yeah, that's a big issue for people. Huge.
Yeah, it is. So thank you so much. And so let's see everybody here on the next chat.
Love you.